An innkeeper placed a bowl of liquor in front of an empty seat. There was no traveler. No hand reached for the bowl. But slowly, as the innkeeper watched, the liquor began to disappear. Then a dead man's voice spoke from the empty room. When the magistrate comes back this way, we will see. From forgotten folklore to hidden histories, some records demand to be found. Tonight, 3 ghost stories from Korea. These survived in Korean folklore records, passed from one storyteller to another. In each one, the living believe the matter is finished. The dead disagree. Long ago, a man named Yi Bonggu lived beside the home of a wealthy family. Late one night, Bonggu was alone in his room, reading. The lamp beside him had burned low. Outside, the courtyard was silent. Then he heard something scrape against the wall. He looked up. A shadow passed over the paper window. Someone had climbed into the courtyard. A moment later, the door opened. A young woman stepped inside. She was the unmarried daughter of the family next door. She had been watching Bonggu for some time, and that night, while both houses slept, she had climbed the wall to tell him how she felt. Bonggu stood. Whatever he felt for her, he would not allow her to stay. If anyone found her there, her name would be ruined. So he told her to go home. The woman stared at him. Then she turned, crossed the courtyard, and climbed back over the wall. Bonggu watched her disappear. He believed the matter was over. It was not. The young woman had risked everything to enter his room. Now she believed Bonggu had rejected not only her love, but her dignity. The shame and resentment consumed her, and before long she died. But the part of her that could not accept Bonggu's refusal remained. From then on, she followed him. Only that he knew she was there. Wherever he went, his life went wrong. Every opportunity slipped away. Every plan failed. He knew who was doing it. He just did not know how to make her stop. Eventually, Bonggu traveled into the mountains and stayed at a Buddhist temple. He hoped the distance, or the prayers, might keep her away. They did not. There was a monk at the temple who often spoke with him. One afternoon, the monk invited Bonggu to walk along a path above the valley. They climbed until the temple roofs disappeared behind the trees. Below them, the land fell into a deep ravine. As they walked, the monk asked why Bonggu always seemed troubled, so Bonggu told him. He told him about the woman climbing the wall, about sending her away, about her death, and about the presence that had followed him ever since. The monk listened quietly. Then he gave a small, unhappy laugh. "A woman follows me too," he said. Years earlier, the monk had gone to a house to ask for food. A young woman was there alone. The monk forced himself on her. She died with the wrong of it still inside her. And now, he said, her spirit would not leave him alone. He spoke as if their stories were the same. 2 dead women, 2 difficult ghosts, 2 men cursed by female resentment. Bonggu stopped walking. The monk looked back at him. Bonggu had turned a woman away. This man had destroyed one, and now he stood complaining that her ghost had become inconvenient. Bonggu struck him. The monk stumbled toward the edge. Bonggu kicked him once. The monk fell into the ravine. His body struck the rocks below. Then everything went quiet. Bonggu stood alone on the path, staring down. That was when he heard the fighting. It came from the opposite side of the valley. Branches snapping, stones scattering down the slope, and 2 women screaming at one another in voices that did not sound alive. Bonggu looked across. 2 pale figures moved between the trees. One was the woman from the house next door, the ghost that had followed him. The other was a woman he had never seen. They tore at one another on the mountainside. Then one of them screamed. The sound crossed the entire valley, and the ghost that had haunted Bonggu collapsed. The second woman stood over her. Then she turned toward Bonggu. The distance between them seemed to disappear. Suddenly, she was standing on the path. "You don't need to be afraid anymore," she said. "The one who followed you is gone. Bongu asked who she was. The woman looked toward the ravine. I am the woman that Monk wronged. No one had punished him while she was alive. No one had answered her after she died, until Bongu threw him from the mountain. You took revenge for me, she said. So I took revenge for you. Then she turned and walked into the trees. This time, no footsteps followed Bongu back to the temple. No figure waited outside his door. The haunting was over. The old story says Bongu's fortune changed after that. He passed the state examination. He rose through the ranks. And in time, he became a general. The monk never left the ravine. Neither ghost followed Bongu home. Only Bongu came back down. Many years ago, a low-ranking messenger carried government money between local offices near Chogi. Then, on one journey, some of the money disappeared. The messenger had taken it. He was arrested. In those days, the punishment was death. The messenger was taken away and beheaded. The county considered the matter settled. Sometime later, after sunset, the innkeeper at the mountain tavern heard someone enter. He looked toward the doorway. No one was there. Then a man's voice spoke from one of the empty rooms. Bring me some liquor. The innkeeper held still. He knew he had heard someone. Perhaps a traveler had entered while his back was turned. So he filled a bowl and carried it into the room. The room was empty. The innkeeper placed the bowl on the low table. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the surface of the liquor moved. The level began to fall. Something unseen was drinking. The innkeeper watched until the bowl was empty. Then the voice spoke again. This time, he recognized it. It belonged to the messenger who had been executed. The innkeeper could not move. The ghost sounded neither angry nor mournful. He sounded like any tired traveler stopping for a drink. Then he said, When the magistrate comes back this way, we will see. The room fell silent. The innkeeper did not ask what he meant. He took the empty bowl and left. Later that night, the voice returned. No door opened. No footsteps crossed the floor. One moment the tavern was empty. The next, the dead messenger was asking for another drink. The innkeeper carried in a second bowl. Again, he placed it before an empty seat. Again, the liquor disappeared. When the bowl was empty, the ghost spoke. I killed the magistrate. The innkeeper stared into the empty room. The voice told him where the body was, out beside the road, hidden in the grass. Then the dead man named his son. Collect the price of the liquor from him. And the presence left. The innkeeper did not sleep. At first light, voices spread along the road. The magistrate had been found dead. His body lay in the grass, exactly where the ghost had said. People crowded the road. Officials were summoned. Everyone wanted to know who had killed him. The innkeeper said nothing about the two empty bowls. Then, sometime later, the messenger's son came to the tavern. He placed money in the innkeeper's hand. It was payment for his father's liquor. He simply arrived. He paid what the dead man owed, and he left. The messenger had stolen government money. The county collected his life. The ghost collected the magistrates. Then the dead man made certain his final drink was paid for too. Even after death, he left no debt behind. The final story begins with a son caring for his dying father. The father had been ill for months. He could no longer leave his bed. Each day, he ate less. Each night, his breathing grew weaker. The son searched everywhere for a cure. He went from village to village. He paid healers. He gathered roots from the mountains. He boiled medicines until the house smelled bitter. Nothing worked. Then someone told him about a physician who could cure illnesses other men could not even name. The son found him and begged for help. The physician listened. Then he told the son there was a cure. But the medicine required 3 things: the liver of a scholar, the liver of an entertainer, and the liver of a madman. The son stared at him. 3 human lives. to save one dying man. The physician would say no more. The son returned home. His father was weaker than before. That night, the son sat beside the bed and listened to him breathe. By morning, he had made his decision. The first man he found was a scholar traveling alone. He carried books beneath his arm. The second was an entertainer. He drew people into the street with songs and jokes. The third was a madman wandering beyond the village. He shouted at things no one else could see. He returned with what the physician required. The medicine was prepared. The father ate it, and the impossible cure worked. His breathing steadied. The father recovered. The son had saved his father, but 3 bodies remained. He brought them together and buried them in one grave. The scholar, the entertainer, the madman. Then he covered them with earth and went home. The seasons changed. Rain fell on the grave. Green shoots pushed through the soil. Wheat had begun to grow. No one had planted it. Still, the stalks rose thick and healthy. By harvest, the grain above the grave was the finest in the field. It was cut, gathered, and made into liquor. The first person to drink it took only 1 cup. Almost at once, he sat straighter. His voice became calm. He chose his words carefully. He spoke with the dignity of a scholar. Then he drank a second cup. His careful manner vanished. He began to sing. He clapped his hands. He pulled others to their feet and danced like an entertainer before a crowd. Then he drank a third. His face changed. His words lost their meaning. He shouted. He stumbled. He struck out at anyone who came near. He behaved like a madman. It happened in the same order every time. First the scholar, then the entertainer, then the madman. The wheat had grown from the grave of the 3 murdered men. Something of them had risen through the roots, into the stalks, into the grain, into the liquor. The son had buried the bodies, but he had not buried what was done to them. The earth remembered, and whenever the liquor was poured, the 3 dead men were already waiting, not as pale figures at a window, not as voices in an empty room. They returned through the living. One borrowed the voice, one borrowed the body, and the last took whatever was left. Some ghost stories are about places, a road, a house, a room no one wants to enter. These stories are different. Their ghosts are attached to unfinished things. A rejection, a punishment, a murder hidden beneath the soil. Maybe that is why they stayed alive for so long. Because every generation understands what it means to leave something unsettled and to wonder whether it will stay buried. So if you ever place a drink in front of an empty seat and the bowl begins to empty, do not wait to hear who ordered it. Leave. And whatever you do not offer a second cup. History only leaves us the fragments. The rest lives in the shadows. Thank you for exploring these dark corners with me tonight. If you enjoy where folklore meets history, hit that like button and subscribe to join the circle for our next tale.